Good evening and welcome. I'm Chris Parnell.
Reporting from Moscow.
Tbilisi.
Times Square.
May your dreams be your only boundaries in life.
Hello and welcome to Living Well. I'm William Kenley. The Bobby Lanier Farm Park is a wonderful asset for the city of Germantown and its residents. Currently only part of the park is open, but today we have Pam Beasley, the Director of Parks and Recreation for the city of Germantown, with us to tell us what's going on with the farm park. Pam, welcome.
Thank you.
We're glad to have
here.
you.
Thank you, William.
Well, how old is the farm park? How long have we had it?
We're going to be in our third year of operation now.
Okay, and I know it's been an active planning at the beginning and still and changing a lot of things, but tell us what's going on at the farm park.
Well, as you said, we're in a transition year, William, because we will be doing some major construction out there. When the city purchased the property back in 2012, one of the things that we realized that we had to transition that piece of property into a public park. So that means putting in public infrastructure, so public water, sewer, utilities and such. So we've already started that process, but we're very excited because we're about to start construction of a new building called the Hay Barn Pavilion, and this is a multi-use activity center.
Well, I've heard a little bit about that, but tell us more. How large is it? How many folks could it accommodate, and what types of events do you foresee it being used for?
Sure. If you've been a visitor out at the farm park, you probably saw on the south part of the property what we call the shed. And it was a corrugated tin building, and what we're doing is we've taken that building down and we're replacing it with the same footprint, so we're not impacting environmentally the property. So the building will be the same size. We'll be able to accommodate a seated function of about 125 to 150 in that space.
And will it be an indoor only or indoor-outdoor type of facility?
Well, we call it the Hay Barn Pavilion because it is that. You will be able to open some large carriage doors on 3 sides.
Okay.
So during the summer and the spring, the fall, when we have great weather, it's going to feel more like a pavilion than it will be a building. But then we have the ability to shut those doors, and we'll have fans, and we're really looking forward to this.
Sounds like it'll be very unique in our community.
It will be, William, and it's going to have a very rustic farm feel to it. We're using a lot of repurposed wood and the corrugated tin, and so it's going to be a very, I'll call it rustic chic.
Hey, I like that term. I like that term. Well, if folks want to use the hay barn, how would you go about that?
I'm working with our city administration and the mayor and board of aldermen. The park commission last fall put together a set of policies, rental guidelines, and a fee structure, and we'll be implementing that in our new budget that will be implemented in July.
Okay.
So what I'm telling people is we will begin taking reservations for fall events beginning July 1st.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I know the farm park is a part of the overall commitment that the city of Germantown and this community has to just being good environmental stewards. Can you talk a little bit about the park's role in that?
Sure. You know, I think everybody that embraces the term lifelong learning, we always seek out ways to have a better understanding of many things about our lives. And one of the things that we try to do at the farm park is help people experience what I call hands-on or experiential learning.
Uh-huh.
In other words, we're not only going to tell you about it, show you, but we're going to help you do that. And so a variety of things, whether it be how to compost and what that does for your lawn or your garden, how to conserve water through installation of drip irrigation. We're not going to show you pictures, we're actually going to show you this is the way you put together a drip irrigation system, and the garden members out there have been setting up that system now. This will be their 3rd year. What role do earthworms play in the health of our soil? So there are many things that we're doing and learning to live sustainably and being eco-friendly, and the farm park is the classroom to do that.
It sounds like there's something there for everyone.
It absolutely is.
You mentioned the community garden. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Sure. The community garden is really the heart of the farm park, and we operate with usually about 60 members, and those members come out and they commit to working in the garden at least 2 hours a week, and for their labor, they take home fresh produce. And often people say, what do you grow out there? And my typical answer is, if it grows in the Mid-South, the community garden is growing it.
So they can take home with just a little bit of everything.
Sure, sure. And they do a fair share philosophy. When you come and work, you take home.
Well, that's good. Is there produce that's available beyond that?
You know, we've got a paddock in the south part of the property, and at some point when we're able to expand, you know, as I said, this year is kind of a construction year, so we're kind of limited, but as we're able to grow our agricultural crops, what we hope to do at some point is offer you picket, so at certain times of the year, let's say it's sunflowers, that you and your family, if you want to go pick some sunflowers or strawberries or whatever might be in season, that could be available.
Well,
so we're growing,
that'd be
if
fun.
you will, to that.
Well, I know you do have other things to sell, though, through the farmers market.
Sure.
Can you give us an overview of that and when it starts and so forth?
Yes. So the farmers market has really been the part of the farm park that allows the general public to come in and see what we're all about. And we really want to play a role in supporting our local farmers. Our food system is very important for our overall health, and I think often families in our hectic lifestyle don't, especially kids, William, don't really understand where this food comes from. It's kind of sad when you talk to a child and they think an egg has come from the back part of the grocery store and not the chicken.
Right.
And so we're hoping that by allowing people to interact with their farmers, that they can appreciate what they bring in terms of our food. We typically have anywhere from 20, this year we may have more vendors. We continue to get inquiries from people who want to come and participate. But these vendors are not only local farmers, but individuals that produce homemade goods. And that is really important to the integrity of our market, because you do have to be a grower or producer to participate.
I see. Well, I have been out to the farmers market a couple times, and the products that are available are pretty varied. You can get, basic, beautiful tomatoes, but you can also those pies that you turned me on to. Fantastic.
Yes. Pickles, popcorns, pies, you name it, and we probably have a vendor there that's selling it. And as you said, they're all high quality, homemade, and here locally to support our local economy.
Oh, it was fantastic. It's time for a quick break. Coming up, from a farmer's market to educational activities, let's learn more about what the Farm Park has to offer. We'll be right back.
Everybody needs a helping hand. Take a look at your fellow man and tell me what can I do today.
Hey, let me get that for you.
Everybody needs a helping out. If that ain't what it's all about, tell me what.
Thank you, young man.
What can I
No problem.
do? What can I do today?
Courtesy. Pass it on.
I got it.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Welcome back. We're talking about the Bobby Lanier Farm Park with Pam Beasley, the Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Germantown. She's here to tell us more about the opportunities you can find at the farm park. Pam, what types of classes and programs? You mentioned education before, but can you give us a little more detail about that?
Sure. We've got several target audiences that we like to program for, and I must say these programs are made possible by a partnership with Methodist Le Bonheur Germantown, and we really appreciate all that they're doing to support our cause.
Thanks.
We focus some of our programs on preschool children, again trying to connect them to their natural world and nature. We have a program called Discovery Fridays, and these are preschool age kids with one of their parents, and that will begin in June. We also are doing, for the first time this year, a camp. It's called the Sustainable Living Camp, and this camp will be for elementary age kids. And then, of course, we have our adult education series, everything from a variety of garden topics. We're focusing very heavily on helping homeowners enhance their landscape and make it more biodiverse and more friendly for wildlife.
Okay, that seems very interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me about Harvest Day. I know we're in the spring now and we're ways away from that, but I know that's a special day at the farm park.
It is, and so typically anybody that grows food, the year-end celebration is typically end of October, first part of November, and so every year that we've been open, we like to celebrate typically our year's harvest. And so the event is held on the last Sunday in October, and we have a variety of activities. We'll have music out there, we'll have activities for the kids, we have pumpkins and scarecrows and everything that comes with the fall season. And this year we're doing our grill off in the garden, and we did that event last year. We're going to combine it with the Harvest Day Festival and have a great celebration.
That sounds like a great time. How many folks, do you have any idea or sense how many folks have visited the farm park?
We track the attendance of our farmers market, and of course we know how many volunteer hours are put in at the farm with our community garden members. So we estimated last year with volunteer hours and the folks that come to the market, almost 8,000 people during that summer months.
Okay.
During the summer.
When it's open.
When it's open. And as you said, even though we're going through some construction, our community garden is still active, and our farmers market will still be conducted on a portion of the farm park. Obviously we'll have some construction areas, but we will make a portion available for the market.
Now, just as far as coming out, are there specific hours for the farm park? If you just want to come out and walk around and take a look.
Yes.
I know right now with the construction,
Right.
not really a possibility, but eventually.
Yeah. Yes, and I would tell folks if they're interested in seeing what's going on out there, the early morning hours are really good because we do have Jeff Terry as our farm park operations coordinator, and he's there. He is a farmer, and he gets up with the chickens, if you will, and so Jeff is out there early. So anytime before 10, there would be someone to talk to, and then of course everyone is invited to come out on Thursday evenings between 4 and 7:30. And one thing I didn't mention, William, is the farm park markets this year will include featuring a local artisan
Really?
that will be there selling their wares and demonstrating whatever their art is, and also we will have cooking demonstrations with local chefs.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
So it's going to be even a more entertaining time. Because I know you've had music in the past.
We will,
with the
and
market
that will
as well.
certainly be back.
I always enjoy the music.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned volunteers a little while ago, but what type of volunteer opportunities does the farm park offer?
So we have many people that do love to be in the garden, and obviously there are opportunities for that. But also we have a program called Farm Hands, and these are individuals that want to be a part of the project and do things such as help with the farmers market night, whether they're at the information tent, or help us with setup or takedown of the event. People who want to come out and help us develop trails or build butterfly gardens, do our composting operations. So anyone that's interested, they can call the park's office and we can put them in touch with the right folks.
Sounds like that is really key to keeping the park growing and going.
Couldn't do it without the volunteers.
Are there things that I haven't asked you about that you'd like to share? What do you see the future of the farm park?
You know, the farm park, for so many people, has been that special gathering place, William. We don't have a town square in Germantown, but we certainly have a piece of property that speaks to our history and the heritage of our city. If you look backwards, Germantown, 40, 50 years ago, we were a small farming community, had some dairy farms. We raised horses here. So we don't have a lot of farmland left. But that place really depicts not only where we've come from, but where we're going to. And so I think it's a great social outlet, a place for learning. It's kind of one of those places I call, it's the one-stop shop.
Well, I really appreciate all you're doing with Farm Park.
Thank you.
And what a wonderful resource for us.
We have great, great folks.
Thank you. Up next, farm to table is a growing trend. What it all means for you is a topic for discussion next. Stay with us.
When we don't talk, when we don't touch, when it doesn't feel like we're even in love, it matters to me. When I don't know what to say, don't know what to do, don't know if it really even matters to you, it matters to me.
Well, you're wrong.
I'm wrong. You're the one who misrepresented the facts.
The facts? Are you kidding?
Your proposal's ludicrous.
My proposal will go exactly the way I say it will.
My dead body.
I think somebody needs a timeout.
Oh, that's the power of one.
Civility. Pass it on.
One grain of sand can turn the tide.
Welcome back. Jonathan Magallanes with Las Tortugas Deli Mexicana joins me today to talk about the farm to table movement. Jonathan, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I guess a good place to start would just tell us, what is the farm to table movement?
You know, it really, the whole concept is about partnerships that chefs and restaurateurs are forming with local farmers as a way of bringing the best possible food with integrity and food with transparency to the table, so that when folks come in to eat at a restaurant, they know exactly what they ate came from, and they know the history behind it.
What do you think are some of the factors that are fueling this movement?
I really think it's a win win all around. I think people want to know about the food they're eating. They want quality food, and they want to support, local farms. For the chefs, it's a win because they're getting to develop partnership directly with the farmers, and that's wonderful because that ensures they're getting something really great and they're offering their customers something that, is delicious.
So as a chef, and having a restaurant, what are some of the challenges and opportunities that you have with farm to table?
It really changes the way you look at food and look at the seasons. You really are take a seasonal approach when shopping and sourcing your food. And this puts a great challenge, for you to really be able to make use of what's in season and what is at the peak of season at the time. This brings a lot of, variety to your menu. It brings something that is changing all the time and, allows you to offer new things all the time as the seasons are changing.
So it really is interesting, and it's somewhat different than some other trends of being more global. We talk about a global economy today, which is certainly the case, but this is more of a microcosm of that.
You're exactly right. It's something that's hyper-local. It is something that really speaks directly to, your community and your environment and, what you're surrounded by. And I think people want, great food. The whole point of this concept is that it shouldn't be fun to talk about. It should be fun to eat.
Yeah.
And the evidence of the philosophy is in the food, but the partnerships that chefs get to form with farmers really ensure integrity and a quality to what ultimately the customer will enjoy.
Sure. Have you made new friendships?
Absolutely. The wonderful thing about the philosophy is that it's never static. There's always new farmers entering in the fray and new people wanting to, contribute. And so over the past 5 years, we've continually reached out and met new people and new folks. It's a wonderfully fluid business. It's really exciting. There's always someone new that you'll meet or someone bringing something special.
So with regard to the opportunity, what would you think the percentage of the food that you serve today comes through farm to table versus a traditional supply chain?
Certainly. Well, I think that over the past 5 or 6 years, it has grown every year. I can certainly say that at least over half of what we're offering is coming from farms like Newman Farms in Myrtle, Missouri. We buy whole pigs from them and butcher the whole pig at the restaurant.
Okay. We've
got 3 or 4 different cuts of beef from Claybrook Farms. Wonderful eggs and dairy from Lazy Dog Farms. It is increasing every year, so it's a trend that certainly is on the uptick, and I see it continuing that way.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Are there other advantages of farm to table that I haven't encouraged you to share that you'd like to?
Well, the ultimate advantage is the taste. I really tell people that the whole point of this philosophy is that it should be fun for you to eat, and it should be something that is not just fun to talk about. A lot of times people, forget that the ultimate end to this is the enjoyment of the food, and that certainly is. I know when the farmers take great care in their product and the chefs take equal care with what they're doing, the end result is that it should be a wonderful meal.
A really a foundation for excellence, sounds like.
Well said.
How many farm-to-table restaurants are there in our area?
Memphis is in a great spot because every year it's growing and growing. Mac Edwards, formerly of McEwen's, was certainly one of the pioneers in Memphis doing this. Rick Farmer, formerly of Jarrett's, Felicia Suzanne. There's certainly people who took the lead before it was popular in making it. But they really opened the door for all the chefs that came after here in Memphis to embrace it and see what kind of value is added by taking this approach and really spending the time to get to know the farmers and develop these relationships.
Is there a site, a website or something that if you are interested in supporting and frequenting more restaurants that operate in this manner, you could they would be identified?
That's a really great question. Not one that I know of per se, but I think that the restaurants that are practicing this philosophy are really, really proud about it, and it will reflect on the menu. And
it sounds like it's some of your more top-rated.
I think it is. There's a reason. People, the quality of that food is superior. It really is great. And when you look at menus, typically the farms will be reflected and the names will be there. And it's a great way to know when you go into a restaurant. Ask. They'll certainly tell you, and it's certainly worth looking for.
Sure. Well, I was going to ask you what types of items that you purchase, but you've already kind of mentioned that. But I guess kind of a secondary question is, How do you find these farmers? Do they come to you and say, "Hey, I raise tomatoes," or how do you get in touch with one another?
Oftentimes, yes. I think there's this sort of cross-pollination of ideas among chefs, where chefs will talk about, "Hey, I discovered this great farmer."
Okay.
You know, also friends, our patrons, our customers will come in and say, "You know, I've got a friend who has this farm," and that's how we were introduced to Newman Farms. One of our best friends brought them in. He knew them personally, and we all sat down together and talked about what they had. So friends and through other chefs have been the main way that we've been able to meet these folks.
That's great. That's great. So now you are planning your menu around kind of what's in season.
Right, and this is just the best time of year, I think, period. You know, everything just coming in.
Right.
You know, wonderful watermelon, wonderful corn, you know, juices, tomatoes, peppers. It's just a bonanza right now, and well into summer is going to be just one of the best times of year for this fresh food.
Well, I have to ask you about peppers. So lots of peppers raised around here?
Oh, certainly.
What is like the hottest pepper?
You know, the hottest one we deal with is an habanero. I mean, there's certainly hotter peppers out there, but in terms of what can be grown locally and what we use in the restaurant, that's probably the hottest one. The Scotch bonnet, the habanero really makes it's fruity. It has a lot of flavor without just being hot. Serrano is a close second. A really hot Serrano is going to be extremely, extremely hot on the tongue. Those are two of the hottest we use.
Well, thank you very much. I know that your restaurant and you guys make a great connection with your patrons, and it makes sense that you would with your farmers as well. I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you so much.
That wraps up our show for today. I hope that living well will help you and your family lead healthy lives. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.